Hello students, in this video here we discuss about the hydrazine. Hydrazine is a nitrogenous compound very much similar to the ammonia. We know very well that ammonia formula is NH3, whereas the hydrazine formula is N2H4. So it is another type of the hydride. Otherwise we can call it as another type of the nitride, because nitrogen is the more electronegative element. So it is the another type of the nitride. Ammonia is one type of nitride, and hydrazine is another type of hydride. Like that, we have the hydrozoic acid also. Hydrozoic acid formula is what is that? N3H. Okay. So look here. Here we have the three types of hydrides. Sorry, nitrides. Okay, now hydrogen forms three types of the nitrides with hydrogen. So first one is the you get, we know ammonia very well, that is NH3, but here it is the N3H. This one is known as the hydrazoic acid. Hydrazoic acid. And here the third one is the hydrogen. So hydrogen forms three types of nitrides with nitrogen. Somebody call them as the hydrides, but as per the electronegativity, it is better to call them as the nitrides. And in ammonia, oxidation state of the nitrogen is -3. We know very well that hydrogen shows the +1 as well as the -1 oxidation state, but compared to the nitrogen, hydrogen is a less electronegative, so hydrogen shows only +1 oxidation state. So due to that, in nitrogen, oxidation state of nitrogen in ammonia is -3, and in hydrazine it is -2, and in hydrozoic acid it is -1/3. Okay, so like that, we have the different oxidation states on the nitrogen atom. So we have to remember one more point, that nitrogen is the element that exhibits the maximum number of the oxidation states. It exhibits the almost 10 types of oxidation states. No other element exhibits so many number of the oxidation states. That point we have to remember. Nitrogen is the element that shows the maximum number of oxidation states. It exhibits -1, -3 to +5 oxidation states. 10 oxidation states it shows. So in this video now we will learn the preparation, properties and the structure of the hydrazine. Prior to that, we go for the other names of the hydrazine. Okay, so look here, these are the other names of the hydrazine. We know very well that NH2 group is known as the amine group. NH2 group is known as the amine group. So as we are having two NH3 groups in hydrazine, we call it as the diamine. NH2 group is known as amine group, and in hydrazine we have the two NH2 groups. I write clearly once again. In hydrazine we have the two NH2 groups. Look here. Look here, my dears, we have the two NH2 groups, so that's why it is known as the diamine. And nitrogen gas is known as the azote, and ammonia is known as the azane. Simple ammonia is known as the azane. Here hydrazine is considered as the compound that is obtained due to the combination of the ammonia molecule, so that's why the name diazane is given to the hydrazine. Okay, now, and one more name is there for the commercial name is there for the hydrazine, that is the lioxine. So like that, hydrazine has the three other names: diamine, diazane and lioxine. Next we go for the preparation methods. Okay na? First preparation method is Rorschach method. Rorschach method. In the Rorschach method, we use the three raw materials. First one is the ammonia. Ammonia formula is NH3. We know very well that. Look here. So first one is ammonia. That is first raw material. And the second one is the sodium hypochlorite. This one is sodium hypochlorite. Hypochlorite. So this is a very germ killer. So that's why here in corona times we are using this chemical. What is it? In large amounts. So sodium hypochlorite, ammonia and sodium hypochlorite. And third raw material is glue or gelatin. Here the reaction between ammonia and sodium hypochlorite takes place in the two steps. In the first step, what happens means ammonia reacts with sodium hypochlorite and we get NaOH and NH2Cl. Here NH2Cl, the name of this compound is chloramine because NH2 group means amine and Cl means chlorine. So that's why we call this compound as the chloramine. We call this compound as the chloramine. So here NH2Cl is called as the chloramine. And the first step is a very fast reaction. And in the second step, the chloramine formed in the first step reacts with the more ammonia molecule in the presence of NaOH and hydrogen compound will be formed along with the sodium chloride and water. This reaction is very simple to remember and to balance. Here we have tried NH2Cl and we have tried NaOH towards this one, and here OH and H of the ammonia goes in the form of water, Na plus Cl NaCl and OH plus H H2O. So NH2 and NH2 combine and we get the hydrogen. So like that we can easily remember the reactions involved in the Rorschach method. So in the Rorschach method, three materials we use. First one is the ammonia, second one is the sodium hypochlorite, and third one is the glue or gelatin. So now we go over the importance of the glue or gelatin in this process. Okay, na? Rorschach process occurs in the two steps. First step is the fast method and the second one is the slow method. Slow step. So now look here, the glue catalyzes the slow reaction. So in the presence of the glue, we know very well that the second step in the Rorschach method is the slow step, no? So here this use of the glue catalyzes that slow reaction. In the similar way, look here, this glue inhibits a secondary reaction. That means the another reaction that takes place between hydrogen and chloramine produced in the second step. So as a result, what happens, this hydrogen decomposes and gives the nitrogen and ammonium chloride. So all our efforts will go in vain if this reaction occurs. So glue stops this unnecessary reaction. As a result, the yield of the hydrogen increases. If you don't use the glue or gelatin, then all of our efforts will be wasted. So for that purpose, here we use the glue. Okay, na? So this is unwanted reaction. Here hydrogen is reacting with the chloramine and we are getting nitrogen and ammonium chloride. And one more point is that glue forms complexes with the metal ions like Cu plus 2 ions, cupric ions. Here these Cu plus 2 ions catalyze this what is that, this unwanted decomposition reaction of the hydrogen. So these metal ions are to be removed. Here such metal ions are removed by the glue, because glue forms the complex compounds with them. As a result, uh, they are not, what is that, they are not left free in the solutions. As a result, the unwanted reaction will be ceased. Okay na? So that is the function of the glue. So once again we try to recollect that in Rorschach method we use the three raw materials. First one is the ammonia, and second one of them is the sodium hypochlorite, NaOCl, and the third one of them is the glue. In a Rorschach method, two steps occur. First step is the fast step, and the second step is the slow step. First fast, second slow, like that we can remember. In the first step we get the chloramine, and in the second step it reacts with one more molecule of ammonia and gives us the hydrogen. So that is the steps we have to remember. Next we go for the one more method, that is the reduction of the nitric oxide. We know very well that nitrogen forms the five types of oxides. So we can easily remember them. In order to remember them, what we have to do means, here we have to write the nitrogen for the five times. Look at N2, 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 like that we would write the five times N2 and N2. Here we would write 1O, 2O, 3Os, 4 oxygen atoms, and here 5 oxygen atoms. So like that we can easily remember N2O, NO, N2O3, N2O4, N2O5. And the simple ratio of N2O is NO. So this is N2O is dimer and monomer is NO. So we use most in most of the cases we use the symbol or formula NO only. And N2O4 is dimer and NO2 is the monomer. Like CO2, NO2 is known as the nitrogen dioxide. N2O is known as the nitrous oxide, and NO is known as the nitric oxide, and N2O3 is known as dinitrogen trioxide or nitrogen CCQ oxide, and N2O5 is known as dinitrogen pentoxide. So like that we have the five nitrogen oxides, and nitric oxide formula is N2O. So here we send the NO gas, nitric oxide gas, into the aqueous solution of the potassium sulfide. As a result, here we get a salt. What is the adduct? K2SO3 N2O2. So this is adduct. So when this adduct is reduced with the sodium amalgam, here we get the hydrogen. So water molecules goes out, oxygen atoms goes outside in the form of water, and one oxygen is attached to this one. Potassium sulfite converts into the potassium sulfate. Potassium sulfite, potassium sulfite, this one. Potassium, okay, right. Look here, my dear, potassium sulfide converts into the potassium sulfate. So this reaction is also very easy to write and remember. Next, we go for the properties of the hydrogen. Okay. Yes. First of all, we go for the physical properties. Physical properties are not so important, but anyhow, we go once through them. Okay, na? So it is a fuming colorless liquid. Hydrogen is a liquid like ammonia, and its boiling point is very high, only in 114 degrees centigrade. So at room temperature it exists as the liquid, because melting point is 2 degrees centigrade only, and generally the room temperature is 25 degrees centigrade. So at room temperature the hydrogen exists as liquid. whereas the ammonia exists as a gas, but by applying pressure, it is converted into the liquid. This hydrogen is soluble in water as well as in alcohol. So it dissolves in the organic solvents as well as in the polar solvents, like water. Here, this hydrogen absorbs the moisture and the carbon dioxide gas because hydrogen forms hydrates due to the reaction of water, and hydrogen acts as a base because nitrogen atoms of the hydrogen contain electron pairs on them. So, any substance in whose atoms lone electron pairs are present act as the Lewis bases. So, here hydrogen act as a Lewis base and combines with the carbon dioxide gas. So, hydrogen absorbs the carbon dioxide gas. Now, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, phosphorus, arsenic, sulfur, selenium elements also dissolve in the hydrogen. Now we move on to the chemical properties. Okay, na? First one is the action of heat. That means the decomposition reaction. Here, when hydrogen is heated, it decomposes to give the ammonia and nitrogen gas. So this reaction is very simple to balance. Here, first of all, we have to remember the products. Hydrogen on heating gives us nitrogen and ammonia. So we have to remember the products first. Then after we have to balance the equation. So look here, in hydrogen we have the, what is that, 4 hydrogen atoms, and in ammonia we have the 3 hydrogen atoms. So in order to balance the reaction, simply we have to exchange these numbers and we will write them as the coefficients. So here we write 3 and here we write the 4, and the remaining atoms will be automatically balanced. Here the number of hydrogen atoms becomes 12, and here 4 into 3, 12. And nitrogen atom is 6. In ammonia we are wearing 4 nitrogen atoms here in 4 ammonia molecules. So here we write 1 N2 molecule. So like that, this is very simple to write this reaction. Next we move on to the next reaction, that is the action with the sodium. We know very well that sodium is a metal and it is a very active metal, and any substance that reacts with the metals and release hydrogen gas are considered as the acids. So here hydrogen in the similar way is reacting with the sodium metal and is releasing the hydrogen gas So look here, we are observing the release of the hydrogen gas. So that's why we can say that hydrogen is a acid. Hydrogen also a acid. In the similar way, we have such type of reaction in acetylene as well as in the alcohols and in the phenols. Acetylene is also considered as the acid because it reacts with the sodium metal and releases the hydrogen gas. In the similar way, alcohols react with the sodium metal and release the hydrogen gas. So, alcohol, acetylene, and here hydrogen are considered as the acids. So that we have to remember. Next, we move on to the next reaction. What is that? Let us see. Okay, that is the reaction with nitrous acid. Nitrous acid formula is HNO2. We know very well that HNO2. And nitric acid formula is HNO3. Here, nitric oxide act as only oxidizing agent. Nitric, because in nitric acid oxygen state of the nitrogen is plus y, so it is in its maximum oxidation state, highest oxidation state. So that's why nitric acid always exists as the oxidizing agent, whereas the nitrous acid, depending on the situation, it acts as reducing agent as well as the oxidizing agent, because here nitrogen oxidation state in the nitrous acid is the plus 3, Here minus 4 plus 1. That means here nitrogen oxygen state is the plus 3. Plus 3. Okay. And lowest oxygen state of the nitrogen is minus 3. And highest oxygen state is the plus 5. So nitrous acid may move either to the plus 5 side or it may move onto the minus 3 side. So it may accept electrons or it may lose electrons. As a result, here nitrous acid act as the reducing as well as the oxidizing agent. And here in this reaction, nitrous acid is reacting with hydrogen and is giving us hydrazoic acid. Hydrazoic acid formula is N3H. Hydrazoic acid. Hydrazoic acid, JOIC. Hydrazoic acid. So like that we would remember. And this reaction is very easy to remember and to balance. We know very well that hydrogen formula is N2H4 and nitrous acid formula is HNO2. So very easy. So there are no coefficient either in front of the hydrogen or in front of the nitrous acid. Okay, and we can simply write this reaction like this: N2H4 hydrogen. Okay, now nitrous acid. No, so NH, and for convenience we write like this. Look here, 4 hydrogens for 2 oxygens. We get the 2 water molecules and one N2 and one NH. So we get the hydrozoic acid. So this is very easy to balance equation. To balance the equation, very simple equation. Okay, just we have to remember the products. Okay, now yes, here we are getting the hydrozoic acid. Next, reducing nature. We know very well that any substance that has the hydrogen atoms in it act as the reducing agent. And in the hydrogen, we are having the hydrogen atoms, so naturally it acts as the reducing agent. Not only this hydrogen, boranes and alkanes also act as the reducing agents depending on the situation. Ammonia is also a good reducing agent because it also has the hydrogen atoms. And when an element combines with hydrogen, other element gets generally negative charge. So that's why they act as the reducing agents. Okay, now here in this slide we can see that hydrogen. Acha, what is that? Look here. This is the basic reaction that explains the reducing power of the hydrogen. Okay. So when hydrogen decomposes, it gives us the nitrogen gas as well as the 4 hydrogen atoms. So that is the basic reaction we have to remember. Okay, na? And here this hydrogen reduces some salts to their corresponding metals. Okay, na? For example, hydrogen reduces silver nitride to the silver, and it reduces platinic chloride to the platinum. It reduces the auric. The Rm means gold. We know very well that it reduces the auric chloride to the Rm. So that we have to remember. And along with these metals, we get the nitrogen gas and corresponding acids. So here these reactions are also very easy to balance. Look here, we are getting the 4 hydrogen atoms, and here from each AgNO3 we get 1 NO3. So here naturally we will write the 4 AgNO3. So like that we can easily balance these reactions. And in auric chloride we are having the 3 chlorine atoms, and here each hydrogen gives the 4 hydrogen atoms. So what we have to do to balance the reaction? Simply we have to exchange the subscripts. So here we have the 4, and in auric chloride we have the 3. So we will write the 3 here and we will write the 4 here. So like that we can easily balance these reactions. Okay. Next we move on to the next reaction. Another reducing nature of the next example for the reducing nature of the hydrogen. Here you see in this picture, in this slide, hydrogen is reducing CuO, that means cupric oxide. CuO means cupric oxide to the cuprous oxide, cuprous. So Cu2O is known as the cuprous oxide and CuO is known as the cupric oxide. So hydrazine reduces the cupric oxide to the cuprous. In a cupric oxide, oxidation state of the copper is +2. In a cuprous oxide, it is +1. So, like that, hydrazine reduces some metal ions from the higher oxidations to lower oxidation states. But here it is not reducing these metal ions completely to their corresponding metals. That means here we are not getting copper or iron. Okay, na? And luckily these reactions are also very easy to balance. And here this we get what is that? We get this cupric oxide. We have this cupric oxide in failing reagents. Failing reagents. Okay, so we know very well that glucose and other monosaccharides respond positively to the fairing test, no? So here, like those of the carbohydrates, hydrazine is also responding positively to the failing test. Okay, na? Here we get the cupric oxide, a red color precipitate. Cuprous oxide, a red color precipitate we get. Okay, na? And hydrazine reduces the ferric chloride to the ferrous chloride. Ferric chloride has the brown color, whereas the ferrous chloride has the light green color. So that is the main difference we have to remember, main point. And we go for the one more example for the reducing nature of the hydrazine. Hydrazine reduces ozone to the oxygen and itself undergoes oxidation to form hydrozoic acid. In the similar way, hydrazine reacts with hydrogen peroxide and gives the hydrozoic acid. Here, one more reaction example for the reducing nature of the hydrazine. Hydrazine reduces the halogens to their corresponding halides or halohalic acids. For example, hydrazine reduces chlorine to the nitrogen and hydrogen chloride. It reduces bromine to the bromide. It reduces iodine to the iodide. Iodide. So like that we have to remember. And we have two more examples for the reducing nature. But in the university exams, we have to write only five, what is that, 3 or 4 examples. That is enough for us. Here, hydrazine is reducing the KiO3. KiO3 is known as the potassium iodide. KClO3 is known as the potassium chlorate, and KiO3 is known as the iodide. 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 So, hydrazine reduces potassium iodate to the potassium iodide. Here, in potassium iodide, oxidizing state of the iodine is +5 because -6 and +1. So, here on the iodine, +5 oxidation state is there. Whereas in potassium iodide, oxidation state of the iodine is -6. That means it is very, very less. So, like that, the hydrazine reduces potassium iodide to the potassium iodide and releases the nitrogen gas. Here, hydrazine reduces the acidified potassium permanganate. We know very well that acidified potassium permanganate has the light pink or light purple color. So, when this H2SO4 is added to that one, KO4 loses its color. So we can use hydrazine, what is it, potassium permanganate and what is it, and failing solution to identify the hydrogen compounds. We can use failing reagents as well as we can use what is it, potassium permanganate to identify the hydrogen. Uh, Look here. Next, we go for the basic nature of the hydrogen. We know very well that any substance that has the lone electron pairs on it act as the base. No, so in hydrogen we are having the two lone pairs on the two nitrogen atoms. So that's why they may act as the Lewis bases. So here hydrogen reacts with HCl. For example, here in this reaction, hydrogen reacts with HCl and forms the hydrogen monochloride as well as the hydrogen dichloride. So due to the presence of the electron pair on the nitrogen atoms, hydrogen acts as the Lewis base. Now this is the structure of the hydrogen. The angle between the two hydrogen atoms is 110 degrees and the NN bond length is 147 picometers and HH bond length is 104 picometers. 1 picometer is equal to the 10 to the power of minus 12 meters. That we have to remember. Okay, right. Stop. This is the three-dimensional structure of the hydrogen. Here, a blue ball indicates the nitrogen atom, whereas the white balls indicates the hydrogen atoms. So this structure is very much similar to the staggered structure of the ethane. But we are not having two more hydrogens. Two hydrogens are less in hydrogen compared to the ethane. So like this. Yes. So look here. Here clearly we can see the three-dimensional rotation of the hydrogen molecule. See, acha. We see the hydrogen molecule from one atom side. Look here. Yes. Now we can see the only one nitrogen atom. Yes. Look here. This is the similar to the staggered structure of ethane. Okay. Look here. Now we go for the preparation of the anhydrous hydrogen. During the preparation methods, we get the aqueous solution of the hydrogen. So if you remove the water, then only we get the anhydrous hydrogen. So in order to prepare the anhydrous hydrogen, what we have to do means here that hydrogen aqueous solution to the hydrogen aqueous solution, we add the concentrated sulfuric acid like this. As a result, what happens means hydrogen will be precipitated in the form of the hydrogen sulfate. Okay, na? We know very well that already we have studied that hydrogen shows the basic character, no? And this one reacts with the basic hydrogen, reacts with the sulfuric acid and forms a precipitate hydrogen sulfate. So this hydrogen sulfate then is treated with the liquid ammonia. As a result, what happens? The sulfuric acid is removed in the form of the ammonium sulfate. Ammonium sulfate precipitates and settles down, and we get the pure liquid hydrazine. So like that, here we prepare the anhydrous hydrazine. Okay, na? Anhydrous hydrazine. Then we go for the applications of the hydrazine. Already we have learned that during the combustion of the hydrazine we get lot of energy. Not only hydrazine, all hydrates. For example, alkenes. In our cooking gas we have the butane and pentane. Those are nothing but alkenes. So petrol is a mixture of the liquid many hydrocarbons. So uh, not only this hydrazine, all hydrates on combustion give lot of energy. As a result, we use them as the fuels. And during the diboron also we have studied that the diboron is used as the rocket fuel. In the similar way, this hydrazine is also used as the rocket fuel. And as we are having the hydrogen atoms in the hydrazine, this hydrazine act as the reducing agent. This hydrazine act as the reducing agent. Look here, it is act as a fuel, it act as a reducing agent. And hydrazine and phenylhydrazine are used as reagents in organic chemistry. Here, this phenylhydrazine is used or 2,4-DNP, that means 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine. This is also one more compound of the hydrazine. I take another color, look here at this one. 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine. Sorry. NO2 group and one more NO2. So look here, this is known as the phenylhydrazine 2,4-DNP. Here it is not clearly visible, so I write once again. Okay, I choose what is that, this pink color only again. Look here. So look here, this is this second position and this is the fourth position. So and the second and fourth position we are having the nitro groups. This one is, so that's why it is known as the 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine. So this 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine is used to identify the carbonyl compounds. So we use the hydrazine and hydrazine related compounds in identifying the carbonyl compounds. So these are some applications of the hydrazine. Thank you.